In today's Football Manager experiment, we are going to see what happens when every single player at a club hates the manager. So for this experiment, we are starting off at Celtic in the Scottish Premier League, because let's be honest, Celtic is pretty OP in the Scottish Premier Division, especially with Ange Postecoglou, who is a fantastic coach even within the game, and right now he's doing very well at Tottenham. But we are at the beginning of the FM23 Football Manager game, so we do have Ange Postecoglou at Celtic. And looking at the squad, something that I learned recently was that if you go into the in-game editor and look at their personal details, you can actually go to their disliked people and you can have them permanently dislike a player. So I have gone into every single player in the Celtic first team squad and made them permanently dislike Ange Postecoglou at the worst possible level. And so you can see going through all the players here, going into the personal details, we have Postecoglou as a disliked personnel. If we go into Aaron Moy here, we also have him disliking Postecoglou, so on and so forth. And if we just go down, we'll go down to Joe Hart as well. Postecoglou's in the disliked personnel. So every single player in the Celtics squad hates their manager. And the interesting thing about this is I'm actually not really sure if this will affect the game at all, because you can't actually see, like if you go into information, you can't really see their disliked personnel. You can see their favored personnel, but they don't have disliked personnel anywhere in here. If you look at happiness, you don't really see disliked personnel. However, I believe if they disliked you, it would show up in your relationship with them. But obviously, this isn't towards me, this is towards Postecoglou. So we don't see that dislike personnel on there. So I'm not sure if this will affect how much this will affect the game, especially when we're not managing it. But it could absolutely still affect the game. It could affect morale. It could affect how happy the players are. It could affect how easily Postecoglou can do team talks and stuff. So we're going to try this with how it is right now and like with the AI control. But I think it'll also be interesting to try this out when we're managing the squad. So we are going to do this eventually again in the future. But right now we're just going to start it off with the entirety of the Celtic team hating Postecoglou. But I did want to give us something to contrast Celtic with. So I've got into Rangers, and their manager is Michael Beale. And if we look at Tavernier here, I have gone into their personal details, gone to their favorite people, and made Michael Beale one of their favorite people. So on Celtic, everyone absolutely hates their manager. But on Rangers, every single player loves their manager. So we're going to see if that might help Rangers do better than Celtic in the league. And if we look at the season preview here, Celtic are far and away supposed to win the Scottish Premier League. So we're going to see if them hating the manager potentially makes them do worse than expected, and if Rangers absolutely loving their manager might help them to do better than expected. So we're just going to do a one season simulation here, and we're going to see how it goes. Will Celtic season kind of flop? Will Rangers do really well? We're about to find out. So I'm going to go one season into the future, and we're going to see how both clubs have done at that point. See you then. All right, welcome back. We are one season into the future in June 2023, and let's look at how the Sims Premiership went. And I believe Celtic won the league. If we go to stages and the previous season, Celtic won the league and absolutely ran away with it. 83 points compared to 75 for Rangers, both making the Champions League. Honestly, I don't think it affected it at all. Let's go to Celtic, look at their senior squad. None of them seem to hate the manager. Actually, let's go and see if Postecoglou's still. Sure enough, Postecoglou's still in the job. He's still doing well. The players are still doing well. Let's look and see if they are all still dislike. Oh, that's interesting. Yota doesn't dislike Postecoglou anymore. Okay, but Callum McGregor still does. We saw that at the beginning. Matt O'Reilly? Okay. This is very interesting. So at some point during the season, some of the players stopped hating Postecoglou. This is very interesting. So he still hates Postecoglou, but some of them don't. So I wonder if winning the league and winning something might make them okay. Some of them still dislike Postecoglou, but some of them don't. And remember, I did give this for every player. So that means potentially that winning the league, or at least maybe some good relations, made them stop disliking him as a personnel. So this is really interesting then, actually. If you're in the game and a player dislikes you, there is the potential for you to turn that around. Maybe if there's some success, or like Yota, I don't think he started off as a star player. I think that was McGregor, but he has become a star player. So maybe if you're playing them more often, if they like your team talks, maybe if you're praising them in training. But I think most importantly, if you're winning a trophy, it seems that you can turn that around. That is something that was unexpected and very interesting from this. But that being said, looking through much of the team still does dislike Postecoglou, but it doesn't seem to have affected how they did. I mean, they still won the league. I mean, they did very well. Interestingly, though, they did lose in the Scottish Cup fifth round and in the Premier Sports Cup final. So potentially in the cup competitions, they didn't do as well as they were expected to do. And it seems, how did they do in the Champions League? They didn't get out of the group in the Champions League either. And I wouldn't say that's a huge surprise. But looking at their season, I mean, they had a very good start to the season. And I mean, barring a few games, they did as we would expect in the Scottish Premier League. But I mean, maybe they didn't do as well. I mean, they lost to Motherwell and Livingston. That might be a surprise. So maybe Celtic did a little bit worse than we were expecting. Maybe everyone hating the manager had something to do with that. However, I would say that's me just picking at it and looking for things a little bit. Um, I still think, I mean, they won the Scottish Premiership. They still had a very good season. Maybe didn't win as many trophies as expected, but I wouldn't say that maybe hating the manager had a big impact on that. And potentially the bigger aspect of this is that some of the players actually did stop hating Postecoglou. So if they don't permanently hate you, you can still win them over. And on the other hand, we'll look at Rangers. Wow, there are some. So Connor Goldson loved him, but he's unhappy. I'm curious to see if Michael Beale is still in his favorite personnel. Sure enough, he is. So, and they didn't win the Scottish. So, did they win any trophies, Rangers? They failed to win the Scottish Cup. If we go to last season, they made the Europa Conference League round of 16. That's a little disappointing. Scottish Cup fifth round. They lost in the Scottish Cup quarterfinal. We saw earlier they didn't win the other competition. They lost early on in the second round. I'll tell you what, Rangers did very poorly with Michael Beale. I'm surprised he wasn't fired, actually, all things considered. And they had a lot of draws. They did much better towards the end of the season. But wow, they were really disappointing. All right, well, this is interesting in that it seems that, I mean, everyone loving the manager didn't seem to make them do better, but neither did everyone hating the manager. But we have seen that you can turn that around. I do wonder. I think we do this again. So this is we'll call this part one of everybody hating the manager. I think this will be much more interesting if we're managing the team and you're having that relationship. And I think it would be more interesting to see how it affects team talks, how it affects team morale. So this is preliminary, a little bit of a non-result here. Interesting to see that you can kind of change that dislike. But a little bit of a non-result here, all things considered. I'm honestly surprised that Rangers didn't do better. But Postecoglou still did well. Celtic still did well despite everyone hating Postecoglou. And again, I think this will be part one. I think we're going to do a part two of this where we're managing the side And we'll do 2 seasons, one season where the entire team hates us, another season where the entire team loves us. And that will be interesting to see how games go as far as team talks, team morale, player interactions are concerned. So I will be back for that part 2. I don't know when that'll be coming, but we will do that eventually. But until then, a bit of a non-result here. That being said, I still hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative. We will definitely be back with another version of this video. But until then, well, I hope you all are having a wonderful week. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all very soon. Bye!